Hey guys, Jake Metallic with Latitude here, and today we're just going to shoot a short little video that is going over some of the common questions that we get with knots on the saddle. So the first thing we're going to cover is how to adjust the length of your bridge on your saddle. So throw the saddle on here quick, tighten the rope belt, and tighten the bridge as if I'm walking into the woods. Now, to adjust the length of your bridge or deploy it when you get into the tree, you simply take your fingers on either end of the prusik and slide. So this will lengthen it. Do the reverse to shorten it. And when tension is applied to the bridge, the prusik will bite. After your weight has been on the prusik, sitting in the tree, the prusik can get tight and difficult sometimes to adjust. To loosen it, simply take your thumb and push this wrap, and you can do a couple different things. You can give it a little bend, or simply move that wrap a little bit until it loosens free, and then you should be able to break it free and adjust easily. Another thing that we occasionally see is that when the prusiks are tied at the factory, they haven't had weight in them yet, so they can be loose. And if they are grabbed in such a way where they invert like this, there seems to be some confusion. If your saddle or prusik knot looks like this, simply take your bridge and straighten it, and that will revert the prusik to its proper shape, and then adjust accordingly. Another common question that we get a lot is the buried ends in your continuous loop that makes your double prusik here poking out of the splice. This is a simple continuous splice loop, and I just want to show you the reverse of how this is constructed to help better understand what you're seeing there. On one end of your continuous loop, you'll see a bump that is called a double Brummel splice, and the berries of the continuous loop come off of that splice. Just get this loose quick. Is it rolling? Mm-hmm. Okay, so what I've done here is I've loosened the berries in the double Brummel, and then I can actually pull these out of the loop. I can pull them out all the way. These are the buried ends of your continuous loop, and this is the loop that's actually bearing the load. The buried ends don't bear any load in the double prusik knot. It's simply this splice here. It's simply this splice here, the double Brummel splice, that keeps the loop from coming apart. If I pull on these ends, it cinches down on itself. And then the rope splicers will bury these ends into the loop. And it's the ends here, after the double prusik is tied, that can actually wiggle themselves out between the fibers in the loop. If you happen to notice the ends of these poking out of your continuous loop, that is actually perfectly safe. It actually means that these buried ends are in place where they're supposed to be. One last thing is that where these ends are spliced into the loop, where they come together, you might notice a thin spot in the rope right there, opposite of the double Brummel knot. that is also perfectly normal and simply where the two ends meet. We also get the occasional question of how to retie the bridge on the saddle or the belt on the saddle if for some reason it gets untied. So now we'll give you a quick rundown on how to tie both of those knots. So we're going to start by retying the rope belt. To do this, lay the saddle down with the inside facing up and the bottom or tagged end facing away from you. Take the rope and pull the black end so you have some extra slack, and that the red end comes to roughly the center of the saddle. Then what you're going to do is take your black end over top of the red end. You're going to do 1, 2, 3, 4 wraps, and then all you're going to do is take the black end and do an additional wrap around itself, and then slide it through the 4th wrap that you made, and that is the knot. Now, to properly dress it out, you want the stopper knot on the black end to be touching the belt knot, which is an adjustable bend knot, or a modified adjustable bend knot. To properly dress this out with the stopper knot touching this wrap, simply work the slack out of the knot as so, and then pull it out of the knot until everything is nice and tight. When you're done, you should be able to pull the red end to tighten the belt, and when you pull both sides, it should bite and not slip. Now we're going to tie the bridge, starting with the bridge rope itself. With the saddle in the same orientation as before, you're going to take this loop on the bridge and come from the outside through your bridge loop like so, and do 3 wraps. 1, 2, 3. Making a Prusik knot with that loop. Next, you're going to take your continuous loop and make the first Prusik knot on the right side bridge loop. Take the end with the double Brummel knot and bring that in first, and then make 3 wraps in this direction to make the Prusik. It's 1, 2. Make sure you're keeping the loop or the different wraps in the right orientation. You should be going down the center of the one before each time. There's your first Prusik. To make your second Prusik, take the end of your bridge and come from up through the inside of the loop. We're going to work this top end first and then the bottom end. You're going to go 3 wraps. This is 1 wrap, 2, 3, and you're going to want to dress this as you go. So to do that, try to pull that bridge rope tight so the loop is making the wraps and the twists and not the bridge. Once you've done 3 wraps on this side, bring the bridge behind the loop here and mirror what you did on the top side. 1, 2, 3. Again, dress the knot at this point by pulling the bridge straight. When you get something that looks like this, you're going to work the loop down so you make your stacks for your Prusik. You want to make sure your bridge is short and not twisted here. When you get to this point, simply pull both ends of your bridge, invert the Prusik, dress, make sure you can adjust, and you're done. To to make sure that you've done everything correct, both of these wraps should be on this side facing you with your bridge loop folded this way, and your tag end of your bridge should be going in the downward direction towards the bottom of your saddle.